Okay, so questions about the loom. I just use a baseboard. It is 2.5 inches, I think, by 5/8. I mark every 1 3/4 inch space, and I use 1-inch dowel, which I buy. I believe the length is, it's a 72-inch length of dowel that I buy, and I suggest cutting it 2 1/4 more if you want the taller pegs, whatever it is. So after I cut each peg, I drill a hole in the bottom, centered, and I'll explain that later. You only need that if you're rounding the tops of the pegs. So then I take my baseboard. This is something you don't have to do. Honestly, you could just, space out your pegs, glue them right onto the board, put a screw in the bottom. It's probably fine. I like having mine a little bit more secure, so I drill a hole that fits that dowel in perfectly. So my little drill press, I just got this drill press adapter on Amazon. I think it was $23. Wasn't expensive. I do make a lot of these looms, so it's handy to have. And then, so, close the door here so I can show you this. This just sits in here, and I've put boards in just as a guide, a little jig, so that I can cut these, and I've marked center here. So I line up the mark I made with that, and I'll just drill a hole. And I have this set so that it's at a depth of, I don't know, I want to say 1/8 of an inch. It's not very deep. So I will drill all those holes and be right back. All right, once you have sufficiently created a disaster, you vacuum. One moment. And I'm back. All right, so now that you have all of these holes drilled, you want to prepare your dowels. And what I do is I take that hole that I drilled in the dowel, I drill a long screw into it. This is, like I said, if you want the tops of your dowels to be rounded. So I drill a screw in, try and make sure it's centered and straight. I put just the screw into my drill and tighten it up. And of course, safety first, wear your glove. I take a piece of, sorry, let me get you over here. A piece of, this is 80 grit sandpaper. And these gloves are way too big, so it's hard for me to maneuver, but whatever. Anyways, so I sand off the corners, the edges of each of the dowels. And so I have a selection of sandpaper that is, finer and finer, so that I can make sure that the dowels are smooth. And when you're working with that dowel, it really is super fine threads. So you want to make sure that your dowels are as smooth as possible. So let's do a tips like this. It just, I find, helps putting the threads on. You don't have to take off much, just a little bit. And then, like I said, you would just use finer and finer sandpaper. I bought this box of sandpaper on Amazon. I don't know, I think it cost me 15 or 20 bucks. And it comes with, kind of a selection of different grit. And I just start with the closest grit. And for each dowel, I just wiggle and make sure that it's as smooth as I can possibly make it. And it honestly only takes a couple of seconds for each one, just to make sure that that is smooth. And like I said, I like to go through all of the sandpaper grits. Obviously, you don't have to do that. You could skip right to a finer grit sandpaper, but I like to make sure that, you know, mine are smooth. So I'm going to go through and make sure that all of my dowels are smooth and rounded and, you know, have no snags or anything that can catch on your And then is the next finest grit. I like to line these up because I will use them for next time. Second to last one. This one I believe is 400 grit. It's quite a fine sandpaper. And last but not least, I use a 600 grit sandpaper just for the final touches. So you can see, nicely rounded at the top, smooth, no snags, all good. And then I just take that screw out, and sometimes easier said than done, so I will do that with my drill. And then move on to the next one. So once all your pegs are smooth and sanded and beautiful, you're going to put some glue into these holes, put your dowel in, and I put a board on top and clamp them to make sure that they stay all in there and tight. Once I'm done putting all of the dowels in and they're glued and secure, I usually leave it overnight. Then I mark the bottom center of each peg. You can just visually view where center is, and I drill a hole through and put in a screw. The other thing you can do beforehand is just use the divot from your hole saw and screw from here to make those holes pre-drilled all the way along, and then you have the hole pre-drilled. Glue them all in, leave it overnight. If I do a 65-inch length, I end up with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 37 dowels. Hope this helps.